we'll be looking at our playoff matchups for NBA basketball. But let's go out to the East yet, because it does exist, before we move on to the college talk here as quick as we can. Trying to, not too bad. We'll definitely get it under 3 hours. Number one seed, as it's been all year, is the Cavaliers. However, they have not mathematically clinched that up yet. They continue to, flirt with mediocrity and having team issues, although there's no real reason to believe that they're not, a shoo-in to make it to be representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. Don't think anybody can beat them in a 7-game series, but you never know. It could be one of those years, and there are some sneaky good teams in the East. I will give them that. They're sneaky good. They're not really good. They're just sneaky good. LeBron has been missing time trying to heal and get rest and recover from minor injury as of late, too, so that's been resulting in the Cavs not being able to close out games and not winning as many as they should, being able to clinch up that 1 seed. But in all likelihood, they're going to get it. They have a 3-game lead over the number 2 seed, which is the Raptors. And they are locked into no worse than being the 2 seed. Behind them, though, we've got a pretty tight race for seeds 3 through 6. Currently tied for the 3rd seed. Holding the tiebreaker is the Atlanta Hawks, and they are tied with the Boston Celtics. Then a half of game behind them, currently in the 5th seed, is the Miami Heat, and a half a game behind them, 1 full game behind the 3 seed, is the Charlotte Hornets. So you've got a very tight, down to the wire, 4-team race for the 3 seed as well as the 4 seed. So I mean that's matchup and home court advantage being determined there. And then the 7 and 8 seed, kind of just jockeying for position. It is almost certain, in fact, it's almost certain, not mathematically certain, but it is almost certain that the Bulls are out of the playoffs. They are 2.5 games back of the 8 seed Pistons, who are a half a game back of the 7 seed Pacers. I was kind of hoping for a Bulls-Cavs round 1 matchup, just, from a draw and a marketing standpoint, ratings, all that stuff. Technically, the Wizards are still mathematically in at 2. They're a game behind the Bulls and 3.5 games behind the Pistons. So the Pistons would probably have to lose out and Wizards would have to win out. Same with the Bulls. Bulls almost have to win out their Final 4, or at least win 3 of their Final 4, and then hope that the Pacers or Pistons lose, at least 3 of their Final 4. So there's your Eastern Conference playoff picture as well. All right, that's it for the pro side of Balls Dribble. Now we're going to get to the college side of Balls Dribble, and then finally Balls Deep Thought of the Day. Get the heck out of here. All these monster shows with all these sports stories going on. I can't take it. I'm only one man. But anyway, where am I? More on that maybe next week. So we move on to college basketball, and we start our focus in the women's world of college basketball, where the UConn Huskies, to no one's surprise, still own the entire world of women's college basketball. They crush Syracuse in the championship game to win their 4th national championship in 4 years. I want to say in their last 122 games, they've won 121 of them. Somewhere in there. It's really close. I'm only off by 1 or 2 wins. 1 win probably, one way or the other. But head coach Gino Auriemma has created, by the very definition of a dynasty there in UConn with his women's basketball program. Their biggest star on the team is Breanna Stewart, and many are wondering if she is the greatest UConn women's Husky basketball player of all time, and if she is, then would that make her the greatest female college basketball player of all time? She has, been basically the MVP on 4 consecutive championship teams. She's got quite the resume to make that argument. I want to say she is actually making that argument as well, that she is the greatest. If you're talking about greatness, then success is a big factor in greatness. Talent isn't necessarily what we're talking about when we use the word greatness, or at least we shouldn't be. Accomplishment it should be more tied to greatness than skill or talent or ability, whatever word you want to use. So by those, in those regards, hard to argue with Breanna Stewart. But congratulations to the University of UConn. I feel bad for everyone that ever has to play them, like ever. And, seriously, what happened to the days when there was at least a Tennessee team coached by Pat Summitt, or a Baylor team with Brittany Grainger, or somebody somewhere that at least could, stay within 10 to 20 points of a UConn team? I mean, jeez Louise, it's ridiculous. Not just how often they win, but in the dominating fashion that they do it. I mean, they're not even competitive games 90% of the time. It's astounding. But way to go, UConn women's Huskies basketball team, on your 4th national championship in 4 consecutive years. All right, well, that leaves us then with the men's side of college basketball, where last weekend we had our Final Four and our championship this Monday, I believe it was. Yes, it was on Monday. The championship game was. In the Final Four, the unentertaining game would have been the second game, even though it was the closer of the two games. But ultimately it was, fairly predictable in what we thought it would be. And North Carolina defeated Syracuse to advance, 1 seed over the 10 seed to advance to the championship game. No big shocker there. The shocker came before that, in the first Final Four game that was played, where it was a battle of 2 seeds. My favorite, Oklahoma, going up against Villanova. And what made this interesting and entertaining, unless you were an Oklahoma fan, was not how competitive and well played the game was. It was how lopsided the game was. It was, in fact, the most lopsided, biggest blowout, largest margin of victory in the history of the Final Four, as Villanova crushed my pick, the Oklahoma Sooners, by 44 points, 95-51. Holy guacamole. Insane. Now, a lot of that was Nova playing its best. A lot of that was Oklahoma playing its worst. And when you combine those two things, that can happen, and it did on this rare occasion. Buddy Hield, one of the stars that's emerged here from the tournament as well as the college basketball season, guard from Oklahoma, he might be a fun little pick in the first round for your Minnesota Timberwolves. But we'll talk about that a different day. Let's move on to the championship game, which, as I said, was Monday night, and it featured 2-seed Villanova coming off the biggest blowout in Final Four history, taking on number 1 seed favorite North Carolina. And this game was a great game. Michael Jordan in attendance, of course, as would be expected. North Carolina in control of the game for the most part. Villanova comes roaring back, ties the game up at 74 with, they tie the game up at 74. They get the ball back with 4.7 seconds left, I want to say it was. Right around 5 seconds left. Point guard, stud player, dribbles the ball down the court, spin move, amazing. If they just got to get a shot off, go into overtime, no big deal. Looks and sees that he's got one of his best players wide open for a 3, all set up, ready to go. Dishes it out, catch and shoot, bang, game over. At a buzzer beater, winning 3-pointer to win the game. I mean, it was Christian Laettner-esque type of stuff. Many people are calling it the greatest ending to a championship game in college basketball history. Many people are calling it the greatest game championship game in college basketball history. I do not know if I would go that far, but it was pretty incredible. The Villanova coach, Jay Wright, wow, he's not Class E, okay? Jay Wright is class. You can't have a better coach of an athletic team in college sports than Jay Wright. He epitomizes everything that every AD looks for and wants in every coach that they ever hire in any sport at their university. I can't speak highly enough of Jay Wright, coach of Villanova. He's amazing. An amazing experience for the Martin family, as they had a brother on each team playing, I want to say, a fairly significant role on each team too. The one for Nova hit the game-winning shot, But so that was a cool element to the game and the storyline there as well. But by far the best part of it all was the way that the internet, Facebook, Twitter, just exploded with crying Jordan memes. You know the one I'm talking about, the face of Michael Jordan crying, that's been plastered on every picture in the world on the internet over the last, 6 to 12 months, however long it's been. Yes, it's still around, and it gained a whole new rebirth and steam. I mean, it never went away somehow, but oh my gosh, it had maybe the biggest moment in the crying Jordan meme yet to date. Within seconds of that game-winning shot, which, Jordan was bummed, but he didn't go full on cry mode, and he actually was on video going, "That's a good shot," which it was. It was just a great basketball play. But just pictures of the entire North Carolina team on the bench with nothing, where they were all the crying Jordan face. Just, oh my gosh, it was freaking everywhere. Crying Jordan as far as the eye can see. I retweeted and shared on Facebook a few of my favorites that I stumbled across. Just another reason to like and friend me on Facebook at Scotty-Ball and follow me on Twitter at BDST Show. But yeah, it was a phenomenal national championship game in men's college basketball. You can't really write it or hope for any better. The one last thing I'll say is that viewership and ratings were way down. I mean, we're talking 10 million, 15 million less people than previous years, than last year and the year before it. And that is all because, that has nothing to do with who was in it or anything like that. It is just all because it wasn't on CBS or any major network. It was on TBS, a freaking cable channel that, if it didn't have the occasional sports that I was interested in, I wouldn't even know what number to find it at in my channel guide. I still don't know. I have to just scroll through and look for it every time. I don't even know what channel number it is. But so the NCAA potentially, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if they change that, because they're getting paid by somebody, for it being there, and their money isn't different, but somebody's got to be, unhappy with the fact that you have the greatest ending, arguably, to your championship game and your tournament ever, and only 2/3 of the people that of the number of people that you expected to watch it every year and have been watching it every year watched it and got to see it because you made a cash grab. Well, hopefully they will, rectify that in the future. Next year it'll be on CBS, and then, we'll find out the year after that again if they go back to the alternating or not. I hope they don't. But I do want to send out one final congratulations, like I said, to all the players on Villanova and head coach Jay Wright. Congratulations. I was rooting for you guys. I didn't want North Carolina to win. I'm super happy that you pulled it off. First time they've won a championship since 1985. It is the longest drought It's the longest period between championships ever. It's either the longest or the second longest period between national championships ever for a school. So